Assalamu alaikum, dear ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to one of Naseej Academy's series of webinars that aim to share knowledge, ideas, and reflections on topics of interest, new trends, and rapid technology in the field of learning, library and cultural institution, knowledge management, and last but not least, digital transformation. We are delighted to have you with us for this informative webinar. Today, we have a topic that is very ear-catching and mind-stimulating. We will talk about AI and the future of assessment within organization, a positive disruption. We will explore with our honor speaker how artificial intelligence is transforming the way the organization evaluates skills, performance, and potential within their teams. In this context, our speaker will touch vital topics like the changing landscape of assessment in a post-artificial intelligence world, opportunity and the challenges of AI in assessment, the real-world application of AI in assessment. I am honored to introduce a distinguished speaker who will bring a wealth of information and experience to our session. Ms. Chelsea Dowd, the International Strategic Partnership Manager for Questionmark products at Learnosity. Extensive experience with Questionmark includes signing up new international clients and onboarding supporting global partners. Chairperson to European Associate of Test Publishers. And before I hand it over to Chelsea, I encourage you to write down all your inquiries and questions in the question and answer box, along with the presentation to be answered at the end of it. Also, you can hear the webinar and the presentation in Arabic by clicking in the bottom on the icon that say CC or the button for the globe, depends about your software application, so that you can enjoy the knowledge that Chelsea will share, and at the same time, share your thoughts, reflection at the end of the presentation. So the virtual microphone is yours, Chelsea, to start this webinar. Please, Chelsea.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that introduction. And hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining this evening. Please put in the chat where you're joining from. I'm currently located in London, and right now I'm very happy that there is blue skies and sunshine, which is not normal for England. So
the temperature of the topic that you will talk about, the AI.
Yes, let's see. Blue skies and sunshine, or will it be a rainy presentation?
Excellent.
Yeah. Yes, of course. I'm very excited to be hosting you for this webinar this evening, specifically with such a hot topic. It's a very exciting topic, artificial intelligence. Now we're going to dive into, is it a positive disruption? Is it that as humans, all of the avenues, and see how we can really leverage and utilize this for the better and how it can assist and aid us. Please feel free to add any questions in the chat. We will be at the end with dedicated for Q&A. So if I just get going with the presentation. First, we have regards to the agenda. I just want to give a high-level overview about, Questionmark as an organization, my role within Questionmark, the work that we are doing with AI, and then go on to the importance of assessments within the workplace. Why are assessments needed? How do they help employees to develop their learning, whether it's in education or corporate workplace? Then we'll really focus on AI, all aspects of AI. What is it? Is it a positive disruption? What are the opportunities available to us as whether we are content creators within the assessment field or whether we are test takers? So if we are ever going to take a test, how can AI help us? And then also, I will always highlight the challenges. What do we need to look out for? Is there anything that poses risk with regards to AI? Then I'm very pleased to be able to give you a sneak peek of our new features within Questionmark and all of the work we're putting into AI. You will be some of the first to see this brand new and exciting innovation that we work with. And then we can talk about the future assessments. Where does it leave us? Where are we going? And of course, leave time for some Q&A. So in terms of an introduction, I had it in at the beginning of the session, but I just wanted to, say it's really to have you on, and a manager at Learnosity, which was the organization that recently purchased Questionmark, which is an assessment platform where you can create, deliver assessments. And within the time that I've been at Questionmark for around 6 years now, I've also been very active on the European Association of Test Publishers Board in terms of being now the chair for the committee. So for example, this is basically a networking group for everyone who has an interest or a stake within assessments. We are the European focused multiple divisions for you to be able to join and learn from others when it comes to assessments. I'm very excited because I will be traveling to Berlin next month. We are hosting a conference there. And I just like when I'm able to travel and meet people face to face, because it's all really cool. But to dig in with regard to Questionmark, as I mentioned, we're an all-in-one assessment and proctoring platform where you can create, deliver, and analyze assessments. So we basically to help measure knowledge, skills, and abilities of employees, of students, or anything where there is a need to assess the learning. As an organization, we are ISO certified. We're also FedRAMP approved. We have multiple partners. Obviously, from my side, the most esteemed partner I work with is Naseej themselves, and they are a local advocate for in the Middle East. And we are an organization with great experience, founded in 1988, and our founder is still very active within the company. His name is John Clayman, and he now heads up the legal and security teams, and AI is also one of his focuses within Questionmark. It's an overall aim of the Learnosity group in general that we are trying to position ourselves as the leaders of AI. So this is a very exciting topic for us. We have done a lot of research about AI and how it impacts. So what I first want to do is start off with a live poll. Let's see who has used AI before. So I just want to see, has anyone used it before? Have you signed into ChatGPT before, for example? Have you used it within education, at your workplace? Or have you never tried it before? It took me a while to adopt the logging into ChatGPT, and it blows my mind every time.
Now I can tell that it becomes a part of the daily life for some people.
Yes, definitely.
And even here in the initial response, just giving a push, more than 50% that everybody said that yes, I do.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll just close this out in a few seconds if you just want to answer, have you or have you not used AI before? And let's see what we have here. So yes, over 50% of everyone regularly uses it, which is amazing. And then a few people that have not tried it before. So I'm hoping that this conversation today will give you the excitement to leveraging it within your workplace or even for personal use. You know, for example, if you're applying for a new job, it could even help create cover letters, it can help review your resume, it can help really tailor to best place you for some job roles, for example. Perfect. So yes, it's very interesting that we have a lot of people that have used it before. The first thing I want to talk about now is taking a step back from AI, and let's focus on assessments within the workplace and why assessments and learning are key to self-development, professional development, etc. So if we look at the importance of assessments, I've got a few key bullet points here. So obviously the main reason that we take a test is for our employers or our universities to identify our knowledge and skills. So this can help us identify strengths and weaknesses. You can get an understanding of your employees' current skill levels, and you can see if there's any areas for improvement. And the key thing why I think this is useful is because it allows you to create tailored training, so you're able to get guides based on a creation of personalized development plans based on your own assessment results. Assessments can also help with performance, so to track progress of specific employees. Are they growing? Are they performing? And then also benchmarking, so providing benchmarks to measure individual and team performance against industry standards for all. And something in which we can all leverage is the ability for assessments in talent development. So especially now with the way the job markets are, we're always trying to look to upskill, and within career development, assessments can assist in identifying, who are the potential leaders in the team, so that we can maybe start looking for promotion. That in regards to professional growth, means that we support ongoing learning and skill enhancements through targeted development programs. I mentioned before how ChatGPT can help with regards to creating resumes for hiring for jobs. Yes, assessments can also help in the recruitment process as well. So this would help with offering a standardized method to access candidates' abilities and see if they are fit for specific roles. They have characteristics, the knowledge to be able to conduct the job that they are applying for. Additionally, it can help organizations make informed decisions, so it reduces bias. Within the process, it can provide objective data to be able to make decisions on specific roles. Then also in regard to regulatory compliance, we can look at the quality assurance, whether people are consistent within the way they are working. Do they meet the required standards for the job performance? Do they have the necessary knowledge of laws and regulations to be able to deliver the job at hand? So lots of different ways in which assessments are helpful, but also in the workplace. For example, if we look at quality assurance within aviation and transportation, there will be pilots and cabin crew staff that will constantly take assessments to prove that they know the safety on board an aircraft, etc. And then also within the oil and gas industry, for example, employees will be able to take assessments that will measure the job readiness for employees when into the field, things like that. So there are lots of different types of assessments. I've mentioned the reasons, but this could be a quiz, this could be a practical assessment, it could be a high stakes test, an end of university assessment. We have another poll. Who here has taken a workplace assessment before? So have you ever conducted a test or an exam? Do you frequently take it as part of your learning and development? Have you taken just one when you were applying for a job? Organization not test employees. Even think back to university, when you take end of year exams to be able to obtain your certification. Who here has taken a test, exam, a quiz, or a survey? Very interesting. It's looking like lots of people have frequently taken an assessment before. Let's get everyone to vote and we'll close this poll out in a few seconds. If you can let us know if you have or have not taken a test before. Still looking like people are leaning towards the frequent testing. So I'm just going to close this out in 3, 2, 1. And let's see. Over 50% of people have frequently taken a test, whether it's part of learning and development, whether it's upskilling, or it's with HR, etc. And that's the way that most organizations are heading. So if you think if over 54% of us have taken an assessment and frequently do, that's 54% of us that will be impacted in the coming future, or we may already be impacted with AI in our workplace. And that's the real reason for this question, because there will be a shift in the way workplace organizations look at assessments and focus on AI. So if I just look at the next here where we dive into AI. A lot of different aspects of AI, a lot of different types of AI, and I conducted a fun experiment when we created these slides, and I asked ChatGPT to actually list for me all of the different types of known large language models, LLMs, and this is what it came out with. Now, this was a few weeks back, and what I can say is we all know how rapid technology changes, and there even has forms of LLMs that came out slide. So lots on the screen here, but there's even more currently and more being made. First, focus our attention to artificial intelligence definition first off. Here, obviously, the ChatGPT definition was that AI is a broad field of computer science dedicated to creating systems capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. This is very key because I will keep referring to the mix of the use between humans and AI. And from my side, it is not the case that I believe AI will replace the need for humans. You know, for example, in some shopping centers, people at the cashier have been replaced by robots and AI types of technology. But realistically, place and the real high stakes environment, and that people's livelihoods are on the line if they don't conduct their jobs correctly, I believe AI can be a powerful disruptor and leverage us to be able to utilize it for the better, but that there will not be a need to replace. So for example, we can think of this as within assessment, there are tools that use AI such as proctoring. So remote is able to help humans take tests remotely from within their own home. This came about a lot during COVID when we all went able to university or to the workplace, and there were tests that AI would check if we were cheating because we couldn't have a monitor or an exam or a professor in the room, for example. Then we have the large language models, which are a subset of AI, and then human language. Now, a lot of what I'll talk about today is the use of LLMs and how they can enhance and incorporate assessments within the workplace, or even within the workplace. So, for example, if we look at all of the different types of LLMs that there are, we have, ChatGPT, the most well-known LLMs, and we even have an advancement, GPT-4. Google have GPT-5, Microsoft, Meta, and I found this one interesting. I didn't know about this one. Hugging Face, which is a library. So this is not a large model. This offers on sources from other ChatGPTs and different LLMs and lots of other different ones. So I found this very interesting, the variety, the array, and how new ones have even came out since I've conducted these slides. So about AI place now, specifically be used. I think all areas in which I think we will. So AI-based content, you're all taking development courses or learning courses on LMS platforms, learning management systems, or so this creation really helps with the resources, collecting and organizing relevant learning material, and then also updating those training materials. Then we have AI platforms. So these, like I say, are the LMSs, the LXPs that provide the training programs. Then we have, which is where AI can adjust the content based on the way that learning takes place. They can then recommend courses based on your interests or your previous learning levels. And then additionally, skills gap analysis, which is where AI can be used to understand what you're doing, where you need to upskill, and potentially, approach that promotion and things like that. So it can really target the training to enhance personally. So then the additional point is, data analytics and tracking, monitors to progress engagement, etc. Virtual reality, augmented reality. This is a very interesting one. Immersive training is most utilized probably aviation, simulations of real-world scenarios that help to get hands-on experience, providing safe environments to practice complex skills such as wanting to know how AI is utilized in the workplace or where it could be impacted. Now I want to talk about why I think this could be a positive disruption. So I think there are many different areas in which we, from the use of AI within our own learning and assessment journeys within organizations. So, for example, AI can be used for enhanced personalization of learning courses when it comes to upskilling. AI can help tailor the learning experience to individual needs. This can then improve engagement and effectiveness of the learning because it's really catered and centered towards the individual taker. We can also leverage it to adjust learning paths in real time based on performance and feedback, rather than waiting for your trainer to review, waiting next week. This really speeds up and makes the whole process more efficient. Additionally, let's look at increased accessibility. This provides on-demand learning resources and support and offers multi-language support to reach a diverse workforce. Let's think of everyone on this call right now speaking multiple languages. We even have a translator in Arabic, and it's great to be able to offer different languages to widen the reach. So great if this could help with our learning materials as well. Improved efficiency is a very important one when it comes to actual activity and dedication. It reduces the time spent for employees searching for specific materials and how they create content. It can help automate admin tasks and allow to focus on specific learning and development or specific parts of the job that they need to focus on. Also, ability for continuous feedback and improvement, providing real-time feedback, as I mentioned, helping to track strategies. Data can really be used to help look for areas of improvement. Then engaging learning experiences, we mentioned virtual reality, augmented reality, to create more interactive and immersive learning scenarios, enhancing the retention and application of skills. As you know, we all say knowledge is power, but ultimately, within the workforce, you know how competent you are, and are you actually to conduct the job at hand, rather than just learn the training manual. Practical assessments, on-the-job observational assessments are also really. So if virtual reality help replicate specific scenarios to give you more experience, then that can really help with certain. And also scalable learning solutions, being able to deliver content across large organizations that can help with to treat everybody equally, to give everyone the same chance, and help assist fairness and informed decision making. So this is where you can leverage data to make strategic decisions about training programs, etc. You can also identify to look at what skills and training is needed for the future workforce. So what I have now is a poll. I like to keep it very interactive and keep it all. Would you feel confident? I've mentioned the types of AI, where I believe that it's useful and where I believe you could use it. So what I want to do now is to launch another poll and allow you to let me know how you would feel yourself about utilizing AI. Do you feel aware of the opportunities AI can bring? Or do you think there are too many challenges right now with AI? Let's see what everyone is thinking. Do you think AI will be able to assist you in your job and respect your ability? Let's give everyone a chance to vote here. Now, I think this is a really interesting poll because even within my workplace, we are encouraged to leverage AI. And at the very beginning, I was a bit skeptical and also a bit nervous to use AI because of just the vast abilities. And realistically, my personal opinion is very efficient. AI. Perfect. So I'll just close this out in a few seconds. If you can all let me know in 3, 2. Let's see what results we have here. So great, just over 50% feel aware of the opportunities and just under 40%, or let's say 50% in total, say maybe, but also that there are challenges. Now this is really great because for the just under 50% of you that feel like there are challenges, I've got a slide all about the benefits and where the opportunities may lie. I am also going to highlight some of the challenges that I think it's necessary and aware for us to know in order to practice the use of AI safely with, specific ethics in mind, etc. So very interesting. To do is explain the assessment landscape, specifically with where we were versus where we are now. And then later in the session, I will discuss on the older assessment. The table takes now modern, high-quality digital assessment. Usually we're all using a laptop, an iPad, or an iPhone. It's shifted from the siloed, now separated from learning, to much more integrated into that experience. So when you're taking an online course on your LMS, typically there is always an assessment at the end of it. So it's much more integrated. The expectations of the way we test in terms of interaction types is also continuously changing. So, multiple choice to something much more interactive, like I mentioned about virtual reality, with higher fidelity and a closer proxy to real life skills that we're looking at. Even as recently as 3 years ago, we saw a seismic shift in where we test, on what device, with massive variance added into that. So I feel like a lot of potentially universities may still do some pen and paper testing, but realistically within the workplace, now it's mainly a test or a survey that you take sent via email or via your LMS, and it's very digital now. So like I say, a lot of companies may have struggled to adapt to this approach, but realistically, we're moving even further ahead. Also, and realistically, we now have the ability to create more content quickly, utilizing AI. So organizations conduct more bite-sized learning or more learning nuggets as part of upskilling professional development. And usually now this is in order to retain staff. With a fully digital experience, including learning courses in more LMSs and LXPs, and the ability for a more tailored, adaptive learning approach. And also with regards to analysis, we've gone from the manual to the more automated analysis of individuals to understand strengths, weaknesses, key areas for further learning, and also the feedback. So this is even now. So let's think about when we get to the future slide, what will have changed. So now if we look at how we can effectively utilize AI within assessments, what specific products we use, how can we utilize and help our job roles? I've separated this into an admin perspective. So this can be professors, trainers, versus a test taker perspective, which is you as an end user taking the test. So first, we have the admins, where we focus on 3 key pillars. I've broken this down to create, deliver, and analyze. And basically, if we look at the first stage, the creation stage, AI can be utilized for content creation. There are many content creation tools out there when it comes to learning content, but also specifically to create assessment questions. AI can generate and organize test questions based on learning objectives, curriculum standards, difficulty levels, Bloom's taxonomy, that I think I'll be able to soon for you. Question bank management, where AI can help curate and update question banks, ensuring a diverse and relevant set of questions. And also here, it's important to note that we can utilize AI to understand the validity of our questions. Are they accurately testing what they're meant to? Are they reliable, etc.? And then adaptive testing in terms of utilizing AI to design and implement adaptive test formats that adjust question difficulty based on the test taker's performance, even within an assessment. So using branching to send you to different types of questions based on your current performance live. Then with the delivery stage, we have the efficient test delivery. Now, basically, this is the ability to utilize specific AI-powered platforms that can handle logistics, including mass scheduling, distributing tests, often with actually minimal human intervention, because it can look at schedules, it can look at everybody's calendars and things like that. Often tools like this usually integrate with, Microsoft Teams or Gmail, things like that. Oh, sorry. Then we have the proctoring security. Now, this is where AI can be used to monitor taker behavior in real time. Like I said at the beginning there, this can help to detect cheating or other forms of dishonesty within an assessment. And there are multiple forms of proctoring and security, record and review proctoring. And then there is also, though, the need for live proctoring, which proves that AI doesn't always cure everything and that there are some situations where definitely humans need to be involved. And for higher stakes tests that still need to be remote, you will need to have someone monitoring you to prevent you from content, things like that. And then lastly, we are analyzing, which is all to do with, at the end of the test, how do we gather reports, etc. So first, with automated scoring, AI can quickly and accurately score assessments, included open-ended questions, complex responses, which reduces professors' grading time or employee and admin trainers' grading time. This is also something that I'll showcase later on in the session. Then also the ability to create customizable reports. AI is really useful when it comes to creating reports tailored to specific needs, overall performance. It can dig into demographic breakdowns and longitudinal analysis. Also, there are various, data visualization tools that can generate visual reports, charts, graphs to simplify the data, especially when you're reporting on large cohorts for global organizations, for example. Feedback generation is also a really big one that can help the admins. Essentially, AI can provide detailed feedback to both test takers and administrators, highlighting the strengths and the weaknesses, and also recommending areas for improvement. Content alignment is the ability for the admin to utilize AI to ensure that assessment content aligns with learning objectives, with specific course standards, which then improves the validity and the reliability of tests. And lastly, course recommendations, resource recommendations, the ability for AI to test additional resources and materials based on test performance to help further learning and development, because we always want to continuously grow, continuously upskill, and there is value there to admins that Now move on to the test taker perspective. Now this one is really exciting because at the beginning of this webinar we shared a poll, how often do we take assessment? So this is where we would really be impacted. As a test taker, how can we leverage AI to help us within our assessments for cheating? So basically, first I have assistive technologies for fairness and accessibility. And I actually ran a session about this yesterday with the ATP Association of Test Publishers. And I was basically on a panel discussing how AI and technology in general can help support organizations with diversity, equity, and inclusion paths. For example, AI tools can offer accommodations to help specific test takers to help with the fairness and accessibility. For example, text-to-speech tools if people are visually impaired. For example, Questionmark also even offers accessibility tools such as the changing of the font size or the contrast of the device screen. Then also let's think about translations for diverse needs, whether it's the translation of the whole test to help the test taker that is taking a test in a non-native language. Or for example, Questionmark also has an on-the-fly translation tool, which allows the test takers to highlight specific words to translate in many languages. And this acts as an aid or a support tool that can really help reduce the stress for those test takers that are taking an assessment in their non-native language. And then, of course, this also then would help with fairness and accessibility. Or even dictionaries, for example, to provide more information about the words that you're using in an assessment. Say this carefully, and I must caveat that, for example, with translations also comes the issue of context. So how powerful is AI in understanding the context and whether things are culturally relevant? So even though AI does impact in a really positive way, we need to make sure that we still have the admins, the trainers, the professors included in the reviewing of content and translations from the human in the loop perspective. So in this regard, there is a need for the mix of both human and AI. Additionally, with personalized learning, because AI can adapt assessments to an individual's skill level, this means they will offer more relevant questions and feedback, so it will be more valid and personalized to the specific person. Adaptive difficulty is a huge one that I'm seeing a lot within organizations, where organizations are wanting assessments to adjust the difficulty based on the test taker's performance live, keeping the test appropriately challenging, so it's not too easy or too hard, etc. Also, the ability for immediate feedback, instant feedback on answers really helps you understand your mistakes in real time. Efficient preparation. This one's an interesting one because AI can help with performance data to suggest personal study plans and resources so that you can be the best performing within the assessment and the best prepared before an assessment. It also could help to reduce bias for testers, so using AI to help standardize scoring and reduce human bias in evaluating responses with manual marking. And then the last two here, increased engagement, is allowing for a more interactive, gamified assessment format where AI can be fun, exciting, and it can make it more engaging and less stressful. Because I don't know about you, but when I used to take some high stakes assessments at university, there was a big, nerves around the assessments. So having that more gamified approach, multiple question types to keep you engaged is really important. Then for comprehensive analytics, then basically it helps you as an individual to understand your performance, where your strengths and weaknesses are, and where you can improve. So I've mentioned about AI in general, how AI is used within assessments within the workplace, how it can help the admins, and how it can also the test takers take. So now I want to move into the opportunities and the benefits and weaknesses, for example. So if we look at the opportunities, there are many opportunities. The biggest is to admins. That would be reducing the assessment burden. So, for example, it automates many aspects of the assessment process. So as we mentioned on the previous slides, it helps with test scoring, feedback. So this really helps the admins and the professors and the trainers with the time spent on these tasks. Helps them to focus on other important responsibilities. For example, AI can quickly score essays, etc., and reducing manual effort. And speaking of effort, automating routine tasks and reducing the effort. For example, AI can handle complex calculations for scoring. It can manage large volumes of test data without human intervention. Its efficiency can also alleviate the administrative workload and reduce even potential human error for lots of people. Additionally, with regards to the frequency, AI can help streamline the assessment process, making it easier to conduct assessments more frequently. Automated systems can schedule and manage the tests so that organizations can produce tests more regular. Also, if we look at the ability to improve quality, AI can enhance quality assessments by ensuring questions are aligned with objectives, they are fair, unbiased. Advanced algorithms can analyze question effectiveness to ensure high standards of content. Efficiency, AI can improve this by providing adaptive testing, like I mentioned, the skills. It can accurately measure knowledge without being too overwhelming or making tests too easy. And then with regards to improving outcomes for actual test takers, because you're offering real-time feedback, like I mentioned on the last slide, performance and analytics, helping test takers to understand their strengths and weaknesses can lead to better outcomes, and also test takers receive targeted recommendations, which helps the overall workforce to improve. AI to be a catalyst for changing how we assessed. So for example, we want to look at more innovative formats. AI enables us to have new forms of assessment that go beyond traditional methods. So like I mentioned, the interactive simulations, virtual reality, gamified assessment, and these innovative formats provide more engaging and comprehensive experiences. More dynamic. We can look at, facilitating dynamic assessments that adapt in real time, and then data-driven insights, which is the ability to analyze large data sets, data insights that drive changes in assessment practices, which can help us to develop more effective and relevant testing methods. AI to, of course, reduce bias, improve diversity and within assessment. Now, this is something that's very motivating. I know I mentioned and I said how I was involved in a diversity and inclusion panel. This is really important because, realistically, we want bias, and AI can help do so by standardizing the scoring and make sure everyone's marked and ranked within the same criteria without being, without subjective judgment, for example. Diversity and inclusion, AI tools can be designed to accommodate this like I mentioned about the translations or catering to different abilities, and also analyzing data to ensure that it's fair across different demographic groups, making sure the context of the assessment is culturally relevant, etc. This also can obviously impact the inclusive content. So we want to leverage AI to develop and curate content that reflects a wide range of perspectives and experiences, so that assessments are more inclusive and represent those from more diverse backgrounds as well. And lastly, we want to democratize quality by reducing the costs and time to market. This means that more of us will be able to be assessed, and more of us can continue to upskill and prove our skills and abilities via assessments. We're seeing a huge uptick in LinkedIn Learning and all of the credentials and digital badging on LinkedIn. And employees, especially within this market, are really looking at how to represent and upskill themselves in this specific market. Look at this, the conduct that AI-driven automation and efficiency can lower the costs associated with developing, administering, and supporting assessments. So, for example, it could reduce the need for manual labor in test grading. A lot of organizations have to spend a lot of money on third-party graders that basically come in just at the year end of a course and have to spend so much time grading thousands of assessments. So think of where we could place that cost elsewhere within the organization. How could we benefit from utilizing costs elsewhere? Market specific development and deployment by and basically accessibility, like I mentioned, the ability to streamline the process, which means we can have more high quality assessments that are more accessible to a broader range of individuals, which is more culturally representative, and thereby democratizing the access to evaluation tools. And that's the aim of the community. Now, fully briefed on some of the key opportunities of AI, especially within the workplace. And I just wanted to highlight the challenges. So before we move on to some specific tools that Questionmark has leveraged and the future of AI, I did just want to raise awareness to the current challenges, because it's really important that we are aware of these so we know how to navigate safely and ethically in the future. So first, if we look at data privacy and security, so realistically, AI systems, when it comes to assessments, they do collect and process large amounts of personal data and also people's performance data. Ensuring the privacy of this data is crucial, because breaches or misuse can lead to unauthorized access to sensitive information. So protecting data privacy involves, let's say, if I give you some strategies, implementing robust encryption, secure storage practices, and strict access controls, so only specific people can access this data. In terms of the security, we really must safeguard against cyber attacks and other or even. So what we need to do is we need to ensure data security requires ongoing vigilance, regular updates to security protocols, and compliance with industry standards and regulations. Now, this is even something that Questionmark specifically really focuses on, because it really is important. And there are a lot of security certifications that you can apply for as an organization to prove that you have a respectable and acceptable level of data privacy and security controls. Additionally, obviously, of course, there are legal concerns. So specific compliance with regulations, for example. Assessments must comply with various laws, whether it is GDPR in Europe, CCPA, other educational standards. Navigating these legal requirements could be complex and may vary by jurisdiction and region and country, but it does require careful attention to ensure that all legal obligations are met. Additionally, there are liability issues. So, legal questions about liability if the AI system makes an error in grading or assessment. Who is liable? Is it the organization, etc.? So you must determine responsibility for incorrect or unfair outcomes. Now, this is challenging, especially if AI's decision-making process is, opaque, maybe difficult to audit. Additionally, test fraud. So realistically, I mentioned earlier about the use of AI proctoring. So cheating detection really looks at how AI can help you monitor suspicious behavior, sophisticated methods of cheating. But of course, there may still be ways that people try and get around this. So we need to ensure that AI systems effectively identify and prevent fraudulent activities without being overly intrusive, which is also a significant challenge. For example, some proctoring tools scan one's entire room, and something that we do internally is we look at deleting these recordings after a certain amount of time, for example, 6 months or 30 days in some countries. Also, we manipulation. For example, test takers might try abilities with rhythm and try and gauge system, which could compromise. And also bias. So whether it's algorithmic bias, AI systems can unintentionally perpetuate or even exacerbate existing biases if the data is used to train them contains bias too. So this could potentially lead to unfair or discriminatory outcomes, especially if the AI does not adequately account for diverse demographic groups, etc. So in terms of strategy, we really do need to look at transparency and accountability when it comes to bias. We need to ensure that AI algorithms are transparent in their decision making and that the processes are understandable. Without clear insight how AI makes decisions, it could be challenging to identify the correct biases in the system. And of course, last but not least, when it comes to AI, when it comes to technology, the challenge or fear is the unknown, which could also be in any aspect of life, I guess, not just technology. But realistically, let's think about the unknown. It looks at predictable outcomes. So AI systems, particularly those using advanced techniques like machine learning, can produce outcomes that are difficult to predict. It's a sort of black box nature of AI, which can make it challenging to anticipate how the system will behave in certain scenarios. Sometimes you just can't predict. Also, the rapid technology changes, in the field of AI, technology as a whole, it's rapidly evolving. New developments or changes to technology can introduce unforeseen challenges. So staying up to date with these challenges and their implications for assessment practices requires constant monitoring, constant adaptation. Lastly, ethical concerns. So basically, the unknown aspects of AI includes the ethical considerations and implications. How might AI impact the fairness and the validity of an assessment? For example, there may be ethical dilemmas regarding the extent to which AI should be involved in high-stake decisions and the potential consequences for test takers. So there's just a few of the high-level challenges of AI, which I think it's really important to know and address so that we can keep them in mind when we are leveraging and utilizing AI to put our best foot forward together. Through what AI is, how it impacts assessments in the workplace, the opportunities and challenges. Really excited to now be able to showcase to you some brand new tools that globally are yet to put some of these to market. So you are some of the first eyes, and I'm excited to be able to share this with you and give you a sneak peek. And a lot of it is basically some of the strategies that I've spoke about earlier. Essentially, Author Aid is a new tool, and there are so many other great opportunities in areas of learning and assessment. And recently, we'll be looking at applications within AI and start to trust AI more as it continues to grow. For example, like I mentioned earlier, the use of AI in fraud directly impacts proctoring, etc. And onwards in the industry, we expect to see more and more of a focus on how to help learners improve rather than just the experiences around test creation, delivery, and grading. So over time, and as trust in AI models builds, and as AI interactions improve, there really is huge opportunity in this space to meaningfully change the learning environment. So what we have is 3 new features coming out. We have Author Aid, which is a test content creation tool where you can generate high quality questions for L&D, education, and certification programs. We also have Feedback Aid, which is an AI scoring tool, which can help auto-generate rubric models, which is fast because everything that we look at putting out it includes the ability to be AI focused, human driven. So ultimately the human is always at the center. And then lastly, the item bank health checker, which is what I mentioned before about being able to understand the variety of questions, looking to see, whether DE&I is at the forefront of the item bank and looking at the quality. So first, if I just give a quick to Author Aid, this is the assistive AI authoring tool that helps with creation and upcycling of content. It helps look at the quality of the assessment content. It even supports high quality translations, smart of content with learning outcomes and learning objectives. So we really want to focus on the sort of areas that reduce friction and drive output whilst also improving overall quality. And this can allow subject matter experts to focus on high-level tasks as well. So here is a quick sneak peek. So essentially on the left here for a multiple choice question, you have the ability to compose a question. So you can ask the system to generate a question based on a set of prompts. So for example, create me a question about the weather in London. It will then come up with the distractors and the feedback per response. It will provide you with a first pass. And then what's great is that you can feed it with more prompts to edit the question. So for example, do we want any specific topic to be in here? So maybe saying comparing the weather in London with the weather in Saudi Arabia, or we could even say we want it to look at specific to regenerate. We also have a similar blank. So what's really great is that it basically creates the distractors and the feedback for each distractor automatically and quickly. And then lastly, we have, with regards to the translation of this content, we have our questions here. Now we want to compose this question in German, for example, or in Arabic, and the system will also even utilize the right to left showcasing as well. Then it's not to have the specific criteria. Did the candidate understand the topic? Did they identify specific problems? Did they use evidence? How was their grammar, etc.? And then basically it provides levels of this. So whether it's, unsatisfactory, needs improvement, etc. And it will highlight where they were within each of these criteria. And also auto-grade by giving a summary of the feedback as well. So you have showcased deep understanding, you have clearly identified, etc., which is really cool. But also, once again, I'm just going back to that auto-graded, but there is also the manually graded option because obviously it's very important to have the human in the loop. Then we have the item bank health checker. So this is really useful for diversity, equity, and inclusion, making sure, for example, that your test questions are culturally relevant, contextually relevant, and it looks at several specific categories to make sure you are representing appropriately. It lets you know if you've passed within each of these criteria. And then also it provides you with some detail and even can provide you with suggested terms for you to update your question types. So very exciting tools there. And, we're constantly looking. There are lots of other tools from other platform providers, and it's just a really interesting and exciting time because there are so many different advancements with AI. So now if we look at the future of assessments. So like I said, there are some really great opportunities in this space, specifically in the area of learning and assessment that we are specifically looking to grow at as AI trust or specifically technology as a whole and how it can be implemented into the workforce. So for example, here we can look at AI as part of fraud detection, cheating, etc., more tools with regards to test security. Then also looking at real-world insights and how we can dig into more of this space of real-time application of knowledge, etc. And then also looking to improve the speed and consistency of painful tasks such as grading, manual marking, things like that. And then, as I mentioned earlier, really looking to focus and genuinely impact student outcomes through interactive feedback. We really want to put the learner at the center of all of this and really enhance and continue their learning loop. And just before I hand over for the Q&A, I really want to, leave this session with, even though the future is uncertain and we don't know about the changes, the continuous changes, it's an exciting time. Let's experience it, enjoy it, and see how we can improve. Realistically, it's so fast-paced and it really does demand an adapt and thrive approach. Our ability to judge the opportunities and risks and adapt is, uncertain, but it's a key indicator to success. And realistically, you know, AI in the use cases that genuinely change how we act, how we think, how we do our day-to-day is still emerging. It's a massively changing landscape every day. So being agile and able to adapt to those changes is key in space and to thrive with the utilization of AI. So realistically, obviously, there was some of you, I think, under 50% that were uncertain of the excitement or opportunities of AI. So for those of you that were unsure as to whether this would be positive or negative, AI really can be a positive disruptor. So with that in mind, you know, adaptation is key because the future of AI is always changing. But realistically, if we leverage it correctly and we make sure we stay on top of the legal implications, the ethical implications, we really can thrive in this dynamic and ever-changing environment. And it's a really exciting time. So I really hope I've gave you some key insights as to how you can leverage AI in the workplace, how it can help internally at a development level, a trainer level, but also how it can help you personally in your career development, in your own personal journeys when you're taking specific assessments to upskill your emotions, etc. And I'll lastly leave you with this very interesting quote from the Boston Globe Daily. Uncertainty is a fire of the mind, jolting us from complacency. If we are willing to take up its invitation, tolerance for uncertainty is the stepping stone to cognitive flourishing. So with that, I'll hand over to the Q&A and say thank you so much and cheers to cognitive flourishing.
I like it. I like it so much. What a lovely ending.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Do we
sure.
have any questions in the chat? I think
Sure.
there might be a few.
We need the AI assistant just to help us to manage the question, Chelsea. I try to play this role so I can confirm that the human still having the control of AI.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to thank you as usual. When you come up in one of our webinars, it's very informative, interesting, and joyful. So thank you so much, Chelsea, about what you shared with us. It's I can tell that it's outstanding, interesting presentation as usual. It takes us to another level of looking at AI as a positive future of assessment within the organization. Now let's open just to take advantage of the time. The gate for question we already
Sorry, it's cut off on my side. Is it the same or? I think you may be on mute.
Hello. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was on mute. So I'm always saying that it's very interesting presentation, and I just confirming that before we starting receiving this flow of questions. My belief that the AI and this unique technology will help to create new type of intelligence with the human, not substitute the human being. This is my belief. I don't know what's your comment on this.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a really important aspect, that AI as a tool within the workplace is not to replace employees. It's the ability for us to leverage this aid in order to support us to be the best that we can be. And all of this technology, all of the solutions always has the need for human review. And that's the most important part, is that the human has the final decision.
Yes, yes. Okay, to take advantage of the time, let's start with the introductory question, I guess. What the ethical consideration should organization keep in mind when implementing AI-driven assessment, particularly around the data privacy and bias?
Great question, and I covered slightly in this session, but realistically, yes, there are huge ethical implications, and this is something that we shouldn't take lightly, and it's something that organizations need to continuously look at. Realistically, let's say when it comes to the utilization of AI, we need to look at the amount of data that is captured, how it's captured, and in order to protect this, we need to make sure that we implement robust encryption, secure storage practices, and maybe even restrict who in your organization has access to this data. So roles and permissions-based technology platforms are very important.
Okay.
And lastly, looking at having specific malware to help safeguard against cyber attacks and other security threats. So, you know, when you are thinking about bringing on specific protocols, you have to tackle this with ongoing vigilance, regular updates and regular reviews of your security protocols. For example, our organization conducts various regular phishing attempts to make sure that everyone in the organization is always vigilant, and also look at what compliance with specific industry standards you can abide by.
Okay, thank you, and for sure we need just to have the answer in a telegraphic style because we have a huge number of questions coming. There's on the same track, Reem Salam asking about how could data security be ensured at the individual level? For instance, when I ask AI to revise part of my research thesis or manuscripts, how would I ensure that the AI will not use the unpublished information in a deep learning process and circulate it by including it in their responses? I like this question, by the way, because of the academic background I have.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one because there's been many instances where, for example, AI will create reports and the actual citations aren't always backed with empirical evidence, or they aren't always correct and accurate or real case studies, which is something you really do have to be aware of. So when you're trying to utilize your time and creating content using AI, make sure that you do your own fact checking and proofing when citations are provided or when specific laws and regulations are also cited, because they may not always be accurate.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for this telegraphic answer. Another question related to the ethical approach. It's about what is the he wrote it in Arabic. So what is the way that I can protect my data again, and what are the tools that will reduce the bias in the assessment? This is from Mr. Hussein.
Yes, specifically when it comes to bias, there are many tools that we can look at that can help with, maybe it's auto marking, auto grading, that can help streamline and collect everyone's specific responses in assessments and not have that human aspect. So this can really be utilized to be able to help when it comes to automated marking. And what was the first part of the question, sorry?
It's about, again, the way that they can protect their data and from non-ethical ways, just to take it. I think you answered in the previous question somehow.
Okay. Yes, and also always make sure that you're not always just accepting cookies on websites. That's a very, very key point. They make it really easy to just accept.
Yeah, Yeah. Okay, the next one is about, I guess it's from a teacher or a researcher working in education. He asked me about to transfer the paper-based system for his secondary school using the AI to be more technology system or technological system.
Yeah, we work with a lot of organizations in their digitalization strategy when they're trying to advance the technology within their organizations. And there are many tools that can help with the transfer of data into online assessment platforms. For example, Questionmark ourselves, we are an assessment platform that can help bring you from pen to paper to the rollout of digital assessments. We also do have the ability for some paper and pen so that you can use them in tandem, because obviously it's not a one size fits all, and there may still be some test takers and children that do need to take tests paper-based. So we do allow for that sort of hybrid approach. So I highly suggest you looking at different assessment platforms that also have a sort of printing and scanning functionality so that you can slowly roll out rather than having a huge project on your hands.
Perfect, thank you. The next question from Ahmed Matar, and he asked about, can you give us an example or recommendations about the chatbot or models that focusing on supporting on preventing from cheating, like the AI duck, or which is Harvard offers service?
Interesting one, yes. So the key thing, obviously, is that no one specific tool will completely be able to aid in no cheating whatsoever, and that's where the human in the loop comes in. There will sometimes be a need for live proctoring, but within AI, there is a lot of different algorithms within sort of specific proctoring organizations. There's specific ones like Proctorio is an organization that provides AI algorithmic proctoring. Measure Learning provides this. There are a lot of companies out there that are focusing on providing a proctoring tool that prevents the cheating, but also there are, fact checkers as well that you can utilize. Even Turnitin starting to leverage their own as well.
Yes, and I think it's reducing the percentage of this one. They try to limit the way that could happen during the assessment somehow. Okay, from Mr. Muhammad, he's asking about advice. Do you advise researchers to use AI in their scientific process, especially that conducting scientific research could sometimes having these two faces, as we mentioned this at the beginning? So what the main tips or advice you give to researchers when they use AI? Mainly, I think we're talking about ChatGPT or this similar.
Yeah, definitely. So there are obviously a lot of different large language models that you can utilize. Some specifically dig into analyzing language more than others. But I will preface this that, like we said to the earlier question, not all of the studies that are cited will always have authenticity behind them. So yes, utilize AI to help the productivity and the efficiency of citations and research, etc. But always make sure that you're double fact-checking, reviewing the specific studies, because yes, there's no sort of way to prove on the back end unless you do your own research. But it's definitely a tool to leverage for good to help with the speed, time, and effort involved.
Yes, and I think it's back to the research himself, how he can take advantage of this, not using in the way that will not help him to be accurate and also genuine in what he is providing. There is a question about, do you know a system, AI system for sure, or program that translating the unwritten language, like some African language that is not written or having alphabet?
Interesting one. I'm not actually familiar with that. I'm going to look into it. But if we go back to the screen that I had at the beginning when we had all of the different AI LLM models, you know, there could be maybe Google Bait might be able to look at answering that, or if you also look into let me think, was it Claude? I think, yes. Claude may look at the alignment and translation of some systems, of some content.
I think he can ask ChatGPT about this and he can answer it. So he can test this.
That will be interesting. Yes, that's a great follow-up.
Yes.
Report back.
Yes, please. Okay. So let's move to the next question. Okay. Okay, the next one is from Mustafa Atif, and he said that sometimes AI provides inaccurate or misleading information. How can we validate the AI responses? And when are we going to be able to say that AI responses will be reliable and also very accurate?
Well, this is a continuous challenge, but I'd also say that additionally, it's a benefit to the human, because if it's not perfect, it won't ever outrun us. So we are ultimately the validation, and realistically, the human review will always be needed. But I also think it's time, you know, once these LLMs are fed specific information, they will optimize over time, and they will be fed with, you know, more insights, more accurate insights. And I'm sure there will be one created soon that looks into the validity. But yes, ultimately, that is that human-centric piece, in my opinion.
Perfect. Question from Muhammad Al-Saad. He said that how can AI help in creating adaptive e-test?
Yes, this is a great question, because specifically adaptive tests are really important. Being able to adjust the content, the difficulty according to the learner's performances. So with, for example, our content creation tool, you can actually feed it specific information and prompts to be able to adjust the learner journey. And a lot of content creation tools do that. So realistically, there are many tools that can support with that you can provide specific prompts to.
Okay, thank you. There is another question related to what is the strategy can organization employ to overcome resistance from employees who may be hesitating to implement the AI-driven assessment? You know that some resistance for change. How the organization or the top management deal with that?
This is really important, and I think the key is setting expectations. So, you know, giving appropriate information to employees as a whole as to what to expect, telling them how AI will be utilized, what data is collected, and also reassuring them of what data security and privacy protocols you are doing to protect their data. Because one, there is resistance to change, but also it's also people scared of the unknown on where their data is going and how it's being utilized. So reassuring them with the protocols and the certifications you have as an organization is useful, and also keeping them in the loop, generating maybe some feedback surveys, showing them that you do value their opinion, and using it for more sort of analytics and understanding how they are viewing the different levels of AI.
Okay, I think we need to stick to the time that we have it. So we have two questions. One of them, maybe will make our interpreter or the translator getting a little bit sad of us, because the question is about, do you know application that make this translation or interpreter instead of the human translator? don't translate this, Salah.
Yes, there are. When it comes to assessment content, there are many programs that help to translate. We, for example, at Questionmark have our author aid translation tool, but it's always AI focused, human driven. So we provide the translation using AI, but we do say that there should be a final review from the human. So don't worry, we're not completely.
So you will have your job, Salah. Don't worry.
Yes.
Okay, the last question that we need your reflection on it. It's about the innovation and creativity. Do you think that using AI within the organization, even in the assessment, will limit somehow or affect the creativity and innovation?
I personally think it will enhance the innovation and the creativity.
Perfect.
I think
I'm
it's
totally agree with you.
yes, I think it's something that we can all leverage to continuously grow, expand, increase opportunities, increase the ability to develop more understanding, and ultimately, look, AI can be used to help your employees. And if you have your employees in mind and you look to help them to develop and grow, that's the best outcome.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I really apologize to our attendees who sent their question, because we have to stick to our time, and we don't need to take more time from our excellent and really nice to have here speaker, Chelsea. I think we really do appreciate your participation here in this webinar. We do appreciate your continuous support to Nسيج Academy, and use our window to share this new and trends and knowledge. Thank you so much, and we would like to thank our attendees for their participation. And as a guest, I will leave the last word for you, Chelsea, please.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for your time. I hope you found this insightful. I hope to be honored with your presence again. Feel free to follow me on LinkedIn. I always post very interesting posts about AI, some new developments, and also don't hesitate to reach out to me or the Nسيج team if any of the features that we've mentioned may be useful to you as well. Thank you so much for your time, and it was an honor to present with you guys this evening. Thank you.
Same to me, and thank you so much. And let's move to our future, considering the AI as a support, not as the enemy. Thank you.
Yes. Positive disruption.
Excellent. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, our attendees. Shukran, and see you in the next webinar in Nسيج Academy. Bye-bye.